Hey, welcome to everyone to this first Spectre VOD review. I think for most of these I'll try and just stick to certain team fights and not actually look at everything. And if there's emphasis on certain individuals, it doesn't mean that other people didn't make mistakes. I've already watched this through and taken some notes. I won't focus probably much on the mistakes I make because it's not as useful unless it's something more in a team context. But outside of that, yeah, I'll highlight probably certain individuals. I don't think I'll talk much about Jaffner, just if he's not going to be on the starting lineup. And I'm going to focus more on the other teammates. So this first fight here on Li Jiang Tower. So we actually have a smoother, cleaner rollout, and we actually get point position first. And yet we end up losing this fight, even though we're running a fairly similar composition. The only real difference between our compositions is the fact that we're running Ana and they're running Moira, and the fact that they have the Mei and we have the Reaper. So going forward, I think something I'll try and do more in our communication, although it's hard with this first team fight because you don't know what they're rolling out on, is I'm going to try and communicate more win conditions and like how ours differs from theirs so we can kind of know. But really, I'd say like what we could identify pretty early here is that we probably want to be more aggressive so our Reaper can really get in the face of their tanks. So us taking more aggression is probably the way to go. What ends up happening is the opposite. We actually kind of slowly kite back, give them a lot of space, which kind of pushes us out. And also we end up giving up that space towards coast, which is bad for a bunch of reasons. You can get booped off. It just doesn't really give our supports and everybody anywhere to go. But I'm going to play it through here, and I'll probably pause and just make some certain. I'll just play the fight through first, and then I'll go back and look at some specifics.
One. Round one. Capture the objective. The objective is
Okay, so I'll go back. Try to get it set back up. Yeah, you can't turn the camera while that is up. Up. Okay. Alright. Okay, I'll just slow it down to a quarter. So we end up in a neutral fight. Our Rhine actually takes a fair amount of position, gets bubbled early. So a lot of things happen to both of our Rhines. Their Rhine and our Rhine end up in pretty similar positions with health and a bunch of stuff. The wall cuts off healing, of course, which makes a difference. But like their Zarya gets down to like 1 HP. Their Rhine's really low. So he's actually in pretty good shape. A couple things happen here. So what happens next as far as healing goes for our Rhine is Shadow Carl goes for a nade, but it gets blocked by Pizza, so no nade ends up on Dezorgan. I think actually a decent alternative here, something that I think comes up a few times throughout this map, is if we're going to end up running Ana on these tight points like this instead of running Moira, who would actually be able to, you know, throw an orb around the corner, would actually be able to fade around if they needed to. There's like, you know, wouldn't get cut off quite the same. Is we got to look for anti-nades. So actually when we came through first and then they came through, before this wall comes up, there's actually pretty good opportunities pretty much right about where this shot lands over here to throw a nade, and it would have hit like their back line and a bunch of people. So that's one thing that could definitely make a difference. But then from here, like once we kind of regroup here, there's like a charge and a counter charge, and we end up both losing our Rhines, but then we still end up giving up like all the space instead of being able to push out at all. But another thing that I believe, if I remember, happens here actually after is Shadow Carl. You fall back around this corner, and you have 10 in your clip, but you reload, and then that's actually when our Rhine dies. So let's just take a look at that. Where are you? We'll go at like half speed. So yeah, so the nade gets blocked. Fall back. But if I get this out of the way, you got 12 in your clip, 10 in your clip, and you're reloading here, and our Rhine dies. You didn't really need to reload. Also, just this positioning that we all kind of collectively take is just shit. Like, that's why you guys are about to get booped off the map. Like, so what we definitely could have done instead... Oh, there, you're going off the map there. Alright. It's just played here. Like, we had position, we had the choice. Like, Ana could be chilling, like, right here. And with lots of cover. And still be able to heal. Like, we'd be in a more neutral position, and then, like, this is way easier to wall us off. It's way easier to wall us off across this angle. Like, even if the wall kind of separates, we have more options if we're in a more neutral position. Jeez, these camera angles are the worst. Now, another thing that makes a bit of a difference in that fight, but will make even more of a difference in the next fight, is that, like, Zorgan, you need to call for bubble when you want to drop shield. And when you come around corners, you probably need to be shielding initially, instead of just coming around with no shield up. And just watch when you're actually putting bubble on him. So we're going to look at Zarya, I think, for next fight. So I'll skip forward. Oh, wait, that's actually too far. Yeah, about here. Pizza is number 1. Alright, so we're looking at you, Pizza, this time. So as you come out here, obviously, like, you're going to try and get some energy for yourself. But, I mean, it's funny, yeah, so their Rhine ends up in a similar position to you, where he loses all of his armor by taking a shitload of poke damage, but so does our Rhine, which makes it a lot harder to push out. I mean, I think Shepard gets picked off with like a Fire Strike and probably like a Sim Orb or something like that really early, but besides that, like, that's just kind of unlucky. We'll look at this. Split it up. So yeah, so you get some energy, but then as we go back here, you know, like, no one's really calling for bubbles, but like as he comes out around the corner, he's already getting fucked up. Like, so bad. Look, like, he's already dead, and no bubble. There's still no bubble on him. So then, you know, it's just, we could be taking we would already have all of this space with like with a better bubble. He gets bubble now. Their Rhine's really low. I mean, we end up winning the fight anyway, despite it, by going in aggro, but I can see what you're going for there. But, so let's take a wider angle. I'll just play it forward to when we're defending. After this, now a few times, obviously they telly to the point. I think when they're like placing telly, not everybody makes it through really fast, and we'd be better off just pushing sometimes onto the people that are still trying to make it through their telly. Let me just slow this down and just look at my notes for this fight a little bit. So same sort of thing happens here with the bubbles again, right? If we look at the timing onto bubbles onto Zorgan. So he's going to peek into the corner in a second. Never mind. This time they just take the point from us. But I think we're actually pretty patient with it. No, it's not this fight. No, it's the next fight. We just rolled them here with ults. It's the next fight. So yeah, like, Zorgan's positioning is good around the corner here. He's like kind of reaching out to try and swing. Trying to keep them from pushing up. But also, like, another thing here, Pizza, is like you're already at 90 energy. Using your bubble is pretty bad because like you don't really need the extra protection from health and you're not getting energy. So like your bubble actually ends up I think you get pinned up here if I remember. Yeah, your bubble could have actually like saved you from all that damage. And yeah, you don't need it. So you'll be able to play more aggressively by holding bubble for when you actually get into engagements where you need it, instead of trying to use it for energy when you already have energy. So yeah, all of his armor's gone. He's already taken one fight, and now he gets bubbled. Now he's trying to push back out. But it's just bubble timing, like when he's actually trying to push the corner, is when he needs it. And Zergan, if you want to like press in, just call for it. You'll be able to get more done. Yeah, so you could have had your bubble there, and you wouldn't have died. Because you didn't actually need it for energy. We get a big shatter off though. So we roll them. And what other points do I have here? So the next fight, like they're coming at us, and like we should have communicated our ults better, their ults better here. I don't think we did. Actually, no, we did for some of them, but yeah, we knew that Blizzard was coming. But let me pause. So Shep does a really good speed boost here. Doesn't reactively use beat. Manages to save beat. Where you're number 5. Saves beat. Speeds everybody out with an amp, which was huge. 5 HP though off that swing. But then like as we transition to the point, there's another time basically our Rhine gets fucked by not getting bubble. And then unlucky, I think I end up blocking the nade that goes in to save Zorgan. He does get shattered as well, you know, but you know, you can't block every shatter. But ideally, yeah, the shatter get blocked. But and then the beat comes in, but the beat's a little late, like it, in the sense that there's enough time to kind of see that the tanks are critical on the ground and getting fucked. The only reason why Zorgan doesn't die right away is because at that point you get the bubble on him, Pizza, but it's kind of too late because, you know, he's on the ground, he gets pinned, he gets fucked. So we'll play that part of the fight out. So Pizza, yeah, you're pushing up. You use your bubble, but then you actually get distracted as fuck here. Like you're looking behind. I don't know why, but while you're looking behind, Zorgan gets fucked, and he needs bubble. He needed a bubble earlier so that he didn't take so much damage. You can see the bubble, and then the beat comes in, but it comes in a bit late. But I wouldn't really blame it on the beat. It was more of like a tank situation there. At this point, we're just too far behind to actually do anything on that. The rest of us are all shattered on the other side. And we get rolled with theirs. And that ends up being point, just because of how late it is already. There's not enough time to regroup. So yeah, like, it was kind of just unlucky here, I think, with the nade. Like, if we look at, like, Shadow. Well, he... Actually, wait a second. The Lucio... Everything goes wrong, I think, here for you. Let's see. No, wait. Tries to get the nano. But we end up with a boostio. I think it's hard, everyone's all grouped up there. And then the nade gets blocked. I don't know, that was the previous nade. It was the previous nade, I think, when you were pushing in and it gets blocked. But yeah, okay, so that's all I have for that one. Yeah, to recap, like there's times when we're in neutral, like at the beginning we're in a neutral fight, but we give up space. And the bubbles onto the Rhine. Like you guys need to communicate more together. Try and hold up your shield when you aren't in swing range. But then like Pizza, you can anticipate that once Rhine gets into swing range with the other Rhine, that is the moment that he wants the bubble. He doesn't need it like before proactively to block damage. Like Rhine should just be blocking damage with his own shield. for the most part, unless it's like little chip damage, but um, yeah, alright, let's move forward. Next map. I mean, we do really well on this next map, but like their Lucio, he gets deleted because he eats a fire strike, wait, slow it down. Yeah, so he hits 3 things there. It's a fire strike from Zorgon, one of my sim orbs, and a right click. Your little right click is what gives you all the credit there, pizza. But anyways, so he gets deleted by everything. You can see the Mei walls going up. But this is kind of another example, Carl, where you could probably be looking... Because what happens is, like, throughout this whole thing, like, your nades get very little value because they get blocked by other things. Like, you're trying to land a nade on Ryan consistently, but it ends up not happening because other people get between you and him. So either you need to take, like, a different angle, I guess, if you wanted to try and land them there. But there's pretty good opportunities for you to, like, land a nade up here. What's funny is actually you get walled up, which gives you an even better angle for you to land like a big nade. You could land like a big nade here and anti like the whole team. But instead, while you're at like this kind of side angle, you throw it and there's no way it's going to do anything but hit pizza. With its like hitbox, I think even if you threw it like over here, it would still end up hitting him just because of the way it comes out. I mean, we still win this, but... Alright, let's push forward. I'm just gonna go forward like this, otherwise it's too hard to find the space. Alright, let's look at front line here. So you go for the sleep. I like the angle there you try to go for the sleep. But let's look at bubbles here. So, not too bad actually. It comes in at a time when he can still get healed up, but... And then he gets trapped. So, I mean, the trap kind of fucks him here. It's kind of unlucky. And then, like, then the wall comes in, and at that point... Although, I mean, it's hard to stay on top of the wall, but yeah, falling back differently doesn't help. But... At least, like, we don't waste here. We actually disengage. I think, yeah, you guys talked about trying to stay, but I called that we should just disengage and regroup, because, like, we're just feeding ult charge and they're going to get it anyway. So we managed to get a pretty early retake. Remember, you already had high energy. Let's see what your bubbles are like. Yeah, don't use your... It's the same as the last one. Don't use your personal bubble there. Like, you don't need it. Like, you should be saving your personal bubble a lot more. Like, because this happens a lot. It's the same with that other point. Like, you're at 200 HP. Because you took, like, all that damage. But, like, obviously you could say you would have taken it earlier if you didn't, but... In the, like, early kind of, like, more poke phase, you probably don't want to be using your personal bubble. Like, you want to... take maybe this much damage and then put your bubble on, because then while your bubble's up you can't take damage, so your shields are going to be regenerating and your healers can heal you, so you're like going to effectively have like 600, like up to 600 HP all over again from here. But because you've already used your bubble, now you're just sitting at 200 HP. I mean, their positioning's pretty bad here, so it's easy for us to... I mean, they just fall back. They just give up a ton of space because of wall, and then we just kind of push them out. I don't have... Do I have more points for this one? It was maybe in that first fight, because, like, a lot of things repeat themselves, so... I'm going to keep this one short at that. The third point, like, there's issues there, but... my internet's really bad for upload, so... Alright, everybody, thanks for watching. And yeah, I'll try and make these a little bit more clean as we go, but it's my first time doing this, so it's going to be a little scuffed. But yeah, thanks for watching.